guys, it's Tahira, and today I'm going to be talking about every single book that I bought in the year 2020. So yeah, I'm basically doing a book haul, and I usually do this like multiple times throughout the year. But one, I didn't buy that many books this year. I only bought like 20, so I didn't really have enough books throughout like in the middle of the year to do a whole video. But now it's been the end of the year, so I decided why not just make a whole video talking about every single book I got this year. I have read some of these books already, but there are a lot of books in this haul that I haven't read yet, but I'm so excited to. But yeah, without further ado, let's just go ahead and start talking about every book that I got this year. So the first book that I got was actually from New Zealand because I went there on vacation last December. And every time I go to a new place on vacation, I like to go to a bookstore there and try to buy at least one book from there. I don't know, it's just a weird thing that I do. But the book I ended up getting from the bookstore in New Zealand was Slay by Brittany Morris. I have actually already read Slay and I really loved it. So Slay is about a 17-year-old girl named Kira Johnson who is a college student and one of the only black kids that goes to Jefferson Academy. And she also joins hundreds of other black kids in playing this online VR game called Slay. What people don't know is that Kira is actually the game developer and she created the game Slay, and when a murder happens because of a dispute in the game, she has to kind of fight for this safe space that she's created for black kids all around the world. I absolutely loved this book. I thought the idea was so unique and just the concept of the game itself is so unique. And if you didn't know, I love books that have like a game/VR aspect to them. I don't know, like books like Ready Player One and Warcross, those are some of my favorite books. And I don't know, for some reason I just love this concept. So yeah, I think the writing, the story, the game, just the VR concepts, just everything I loved about it. The next book I've also already read, and I got this because of school, and I actually absolutely hated this book, and that is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I talked about more of why I didn't like it in a video that I just posted a couple videos ago, books I've read recently, so if you want to know why, I'll link that video down below. But I did not like this book at all. It was just very slow. It took me like 6 months to like finish this book just because I couldn't bring myself to read it. I was just really bored. It was just not a fun time. I'm probably gonna end up unhauling it soon because yeah, I just did not like it, and I was so sad because this book is so popular. Like, it's such a classic, everyone loves it, and there's a whole TV show too, but I just didn't love it, which is just sad and disappointing. But you know what, yeah. On the other hand, the next book is actually one of my favorite books of the year, and that is Crescent City by Sarah J Maas. This is Sarah J Maas's new adult series. It's like completely different from her like Throne of Glass, ACOTAR world. And if you did not know, Sarah J Maas is one of my favorite authors of all time. Her Throne of Glass series is like one of my favorite series. And yes, objectively there are a lot of things that could be improved on and a lot of things that are wrong with the series, but you know what, I just love that series so much. Also, this book is very big. This is like 800 pages and it's like only the first book in the series, so I really don't know how much bigger it's gonna get. But yeah, I just loved this book so much. I just had such a fun time reading it. It was fun, it was emotional, the story was just amazing. Like, I just loved every single part of it. Also, the cover itself is very pretty, and also the end paper, I don't know if you can see, but it's just, the drawing is just, it's amazing. But yeah, after reading this book, I'm just so excited for the next books in the series because I just need it right now. The next 3 books are all part of a series, and that is the Heartstopper Volumes by Alice Oseman. These are all graphic novels, and I've read all 3 of these. These are like so cute. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. It's about 2 boys, Charlie and Nick, and basically their friendship and how it goes beyond friendship. And it's literally one of the cutest stories I've ever read. Like, it's just so wholesome and pure, and it just follows their relationship as they're like getting to know each other and becoming just closer. It's just so adorable. But yeah, I know that volume 4 is about to come very soon, so I can't wait to get my hands on that. But yeah, I did get these 3 this year. The next book that I got, I have also already read. I've already read like half of these books. I don't know if that's good or bad, but yeah, next is Next is My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. This book was very dark and disturbing because it follows a student who starts a relationship with her teacher. This story is told in two different time periods. One is her as a girl as she's starting to form this relationship with her teacher, and the other one is her all grown up as she's trying to basically deal with the trauma and the consequences of this relationship that she had. The reason this book is just so disturbing is that you can really see how the teacher, has truly like warped her way of thinking, and how like relationships like these that happen in the real world, just how they affect the people, the victims. I did really like it when I read it, and I've never read anything like it, but yeah, it was hard to read at times just because it's hard to read about like this old man, not old, but like this man with this very young high school girl, and like how he's basically like watching him groom her basically. Anyway, it is a really good book and I would recommend. The next book I was so excited for when it was coming out, and that is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. This book is the prequel to the Hunger Games series. Of course, everyone knows the Hunger Games series, and I love the Hunger Games series, and I was so excited for this book because obviously, but it was disappointing. Well, obviously I wasn't expecting it to be amazing just because it's being written so long after the original trilogy was published, and I just really didn't know what to expect. But I actually have a whole reading vlog of me reading this book, so if you want my more like live in-depth thoughts, I'll link that down below. But yeah, I think I ended up giving it 3 stars. It was okay. It wasn't my favorite. It was kind of slow. It was kind of cool to see how like the Hunger Games tradition started, and basically seeing what the Hunger Games looked like before that, like when it first started versus what we see in the original trilogy, because it is very different. In the end, I'm glad I read it. It's a part of the Hunger Games series. It's not my favorite. I prefer the original trilogy, but I think I got some good out of it. The next book is Frankly in Love by David Yoon. The Frankly in Love follows our main character Frank Lee, who is a Korean American boy who is born and raised in Southern California. And he is raised in a very traditional Korean family, so his family wants him to be dating a Korean girl, but that is not the case because he starts dating this white girl from his school, and because he obviously can't tell his parents about this girl, he turns to his friend Joy Song, who is in a similar situation because she's also Korean and her parents also want her to date a Korean boy, but she's dating a Chinese boy, and since they're both in this similar situation, they start fake dating each other, so that kind of throw their parents off. I give this book 4 stars, I think. I enjoyed it, and I really liked the conversations about like growing up in an immigrant household, because some things you can just relate to as an immigrant child, like just the expectations your parents have and stuff. But yeah, overall I enjoyed it. I think it's cool that it has blue sprayed edges. I don't know if this is every copy, but I was surprised because I was not expecting this. But yeah, overall it was a good book. The next book is a book that I've also already read. Are we surprised? No. And that is Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. I have read Elizabeth Acevedo's other book, which is With the Fire on High. I have not read her highly acclaimed The Poet X, which is her most popular book, but I really do want to read it. I did really enjoy this book, but I feel like I didn't enjoy it as much as everyone else did. Everyone else was raving about it, they loved it, and I think what part of the thing that like kind of took down my enjoyment of the book was the fact that it was written in verse. So if you can see, it's not written in like a typical, it's not poetry, but it's not like a typical story. It's like between a typical written story and poetry, like, I think that's what it is. I feel like the fact that it was written in verse affected my enjoyment of the story because, I don't know, I feel like I couldn't really connect to the characters as well, and it was because it was kind of fast because it was written in verse. You couldn't really get into their thoughts, into their feelings as much as you would if it was written in a normal way. So I think that's what affected my rating for this, but overall I think this is a beautiful story about grief. This book follows 2 sisters. The first is Camina Rios, who lives in the Dominican Republic, and she really looks forward to when her father visits her in the Dominican Republic, but one summer he doesn't. The plane ends up crashing. And the other sister is Yahira Rios, who lives in New York City, and one day she is called into the principal's office to be told that her father's plane has crashed. Both of these sisters don't know the other exists, and they find out that their father had two different families in two different places, one in New York City and one in the Dominican Republic, and neither of them knew the other existed. So these two sisters are finding out about each other and rediscovering their relationship. As I said, it's a beautiful story that deals with grief and these two sisters finding each other in like found family. I just think that I haven't gotten used to verse yet because this is the very first book that I've actually read in verse, but I'm hoping to read The Poet X, and hopefully I'll really like that one. The next book that I got was Love But Taipei by Abigail Hing Wen. This book I also really enjoyed. This book I've also already read, and it follows a high school girl named Ever Wong, and she is sent to Taipei to learn Mandarin for the summer. What her parents don't know is that the program that they thought they sent her to was actually this teen program called Love Boat, which is quite different than what they expected. So she's kind of like learning more about herself, learning what she likes. I liked it. I didn't love it. It was okay. I gave it 3.5 stars. I don't know. I don't really have much to say about this book. I liked some of the conversations it talked about. Some parts could have been done better. This is a book haul, not a wrap up, so we're gonna move on. The next book that I got was The Grace Year by Kim Liggett. This book I also liked. I gave 3.5 stars, and it's about this girl named Tierney James who lives in this village where girls have this like aphrodisiac power radiating off of them. Basically this power that makes them irresistible to everyone around them, and they are basically, when these girls are 16, they're sent to like the wilderness to kind of release this magic so that when they come back, they can come back as pure girls who are ready to get married. So Tierney James is part of this group of girls, and she has her grace year, which means that it's time for her to go into the wilderness and release her magic, and just basically a story about that. I gave it 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it. There were some parts I didn't like. There were some parts I liked. Moving on. The next book I have read but I haven't talked about yet, and that is City of Girls by Elizabeth Gilbert. Elizabeth Gilbert wrote Eat, Pray, Love, which is really popular, but I haven't read that. City of Girls follows a 19-year-old Vivian Morris who is kicked out of Vassar College, and she is sent to live with her aunt in Manhattan by her parents. Her aunt owns this theater in Manhattan, and it's kind of a rundown theater, but she basically lives with her aunt and gets to know all these people that are working at the theater. It's actually told as her, like, when she's an old woman and she's kind of like recounting her life. I actually liked this book. It was a bit slow at times, but overall I enjoyed it. And the reason I first picked this up was actually because it reminded me a lot of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, because it's not the exact same obviously, but it is sort of similar with like this woman recounting her life, her glamorous life in the early 1900s. So that's why I first picked it up, and I was interested in it because I love The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And this is not the same, and it didn't match up quite completely, but still overall it was an enjoyable read. The next book is Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tomi Adeyemi, which I also read, and I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either. I kind of talked about this more in my other video, but like I reread Children of Blood and Bone and I was sadly disappointed by the reread, and I don't know. I feel like the story isn't for me, or like I literally don't know. It gave it 3 stars. It was meh. I don't know. I think there is a 3rd book to this trilogy, but I don't know if I'm actually going to be picking it up, which is kind of sad, but you know what? We'll see when that comes around. But overall, it was just an okay book. Now we're getting to the books that I got recently, which means I haven't read these books. The next 2 books are Get a Life, Chloe Brown, and Take a Hint, Danny Brown, both by Talia Hibbert. I'm actually reading Get a Life, Chloe Brown right now, and I think you can see my bookmark, but yeah, these books are like both romance books, which I don't really read a lot, and I feel like it's something that I'm just trying to get more into. Maybe like just trying it out, you know, just to see how I like it. So far I am enjoying it. It's a really fun story, and I've heard like a lot of praise for both of these books. I'm really excited. But yeah, definitely a little outside of like the genre that I normally read, because I never read romance. The next book that I have not read yet, and that is A Song of Wraiths and Ruins by Roseanne Brown. I'm really excited for this book because I've heard so many great things about it. This book follows Malik, who is waiting for the solstasia. I feel like that's how you pronounce I don't know how you pronounce that, but the Solstasia festival as a chance to escape his war-stricken home. And he wants to start a new life with his sisters. But one day a vengeful spirit abducts his sister and he strikes a deal that he will get his sister back if he kills the crown princess Karina. But Karina, the crown princess, has plans of her own because her mother was assassinated and she's trying to resurrect her using ancient magic that requires the beating heart of a king. In order to get this beating heart of a king, she offers her hand in marriage to the victor of the Solstasia competition, and when Malik enters the competition, they meet, and obviously there is an attraction that starts forming. So will they be able to see to their different tasks? Who knows? This book sounds amazing. Like, it's just the perfect fantasy book. Like, this is the type of story that I love. And I've also heard really, really good things about it, so I'm really excited. The next book is also very highly appraised and I've heard really good things about, and that is Felix Ever After by Kason Calendar. So Felix Ever After follows a boy named Felix Love who is black, queer, and transgender, and he is wondering why it's so hard for him to find someone. But then an anonymous student starts sending him transphobic messages and releases his dead name along with pictures of him before he transitioned, and he wants to get revenge, and somehow he gets stuck into a love triangle. I'm really excited for this book because I've never read a book about a transgender teen. Just like reading books about people from like other perspectives that have like other perspectives on life and other experiences, and reading about a transgender teen is something I've never really read about, so I'm really excited to read about the experience. Again, I've heard really, really great things and I'm really excited to read it. The next 3 books is a series, and I think I'm probably the most excited for this because one, I've heard like literally nothing but good things, and it has won awards, and just everyone just raves about this series non-stop, and that is the Broken Earth Trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. One thing that I am a little hesitant about is that I think this book is told in second person, which I've never read any book that's in second person, so I'm a little nervous because I don't know how I'm gonna like it. But I have super high expectations for this because I don't know, it's just so highly raved about that like it just has to be amazing, otherwise I'm gonna be disappointed. But I know I'm not gonna be disappointed. I just like, I know I'm gonna love it. Hopefully the second person doesn't get me too much, but I just really hope I love it. And the last 4 books I got because I came back from college like a couple weeks ago, and I hadn't bought books all semester, and so literally the first thing I did was literally go to the bookstore, obviously. And I ended up buying 4 books that day because I hadn't bought books all semester, and apparently when you don't buy books all semester, you kind of get a withdrawal of not buying books. I don't know, it's just like a craving. Like, I came back and I was like, I feel like buying books. Anyway, so the first book that I ended up getting was Sky Hunter by Marie Lu, which, by the way, this cover is absolutely, like, literally one of my favorite covers ever. Like, I cannot stop staring at this cover. It's like, it's not a cover by, okay, maybe it is, but like just the colors, the design, just like just everything, just amazing. Oh my. I know it might not seem that amazing, but tell me this is not a beautiful. I think this is one of my favorite designed books ever. Like the colors, just like the text, just the color, just everything. Oh my god, A+ on design. So I don't really know what this book is about, but according to the dust jacket, it is about this world that is kind of ruled by this foundation called the Crescent Foundation, which has conquered a lot of the countries of the world. And there's this one country called Mara, which is one of the last free countries in this world. And refugees from other countries flee to Mara to try to escape a fate worse than death, which is turning into these mutant ghosts. The ghost creatures that are then sent to Mara to like kill people from Mara. But the Sky Hunter follows our main character Talin Kanami, who is one of these strikers, and these are the elite force that are supposed to fight all the ghosts. I'm so excited for this. It sounds really cool, but just the cover, like I literally can't get over the cover. The next book is Legend Born by Tracy Dion, and I've also heard really great things about this book. I don't know much about this book, but I know that it follows a 16-year-old girl named Bree who sees that her mother dies, and She ends up going to this girl ends up going to this like program for gifted students at UNC Chapel Hill, and her very first night on campus she sees a powerful demon feeding on human energies, and then this like powerful Merlin guy comes and tries to like wipe her memory of this, but her memory isn't wiped, and then she like discovers her powers or something. I don't know. I think that's what it's about, but I'm just excited for this. I've heard a lot of really great things about this as well. I feel like you can tell I'm getting tired because my summaries are getting like worse and worse as I describe each book, because I've been filming for the past 45 minutes. We're almost done here. The second to last book is Heroine by Mindy McGinnis. I picked this up because Emma from Emma Books was talking about this book and she said she really loved it. So, and I like read more about it and I thought it was really interesting, so I picked it up. I don't know much about what the story is about, but I know that it follows a student who gets addicted to painkillers after a car crash, and it's just basically about drug addiction. And I've heard it's like really dark and gritty, and I'm really excited to read it. And finally, the last book that I got in the year 2020 is The Devil's Thief by Lisa Maxwell. This is the second book to the, I don't know what the series is called, but like the Last Magician series. I read The Last Magician earlier this year and I absolutely loved it, so of course I had to pick up the sequel. Also, my favorite part, this book was only $7, so like of course I had to get it. Yeah, I really love The Last Magician and I'm really excited to continue on with the series. Okay, I've been filming for 47 minutes now, which is the longest video I think I've ever filmed, so that's great. But yeah, that is it for this video. Let me know down below what is your favorite book that you got this year, as I would love to know. But that is for this video. Hope you enjoyed and I'll see you next time. Bye!